One of the things we'll do today is celebrate a woman who recently passed, who we miss, who was the first Black woman to be elected mayor of the city. And as her son, Ahmad Anderson, to my right, will tell you, was the first African-American person to be elected of a major city in the state of California. Mayor Irma Anderson was a champion. We're gonna have a chance to watch a short video about her life so that you can know about her, but all of our panelists know her and experience her life, and we'll be sharing some of their own perspectives. I just want you to know what you have here in this panel today. In the form of my brother, Ahmad Anderson, you have the first and only person from Richmond ever to be named to the Cal Football Hall of Fame. You can see him on ESPN, y'all. He's gonna tell you about it, but this is a great distinction and a reason for us to be proud. You're gonna hear from Ms. Merle Braxton. She, at the young age of 97, she holds the distinction of serving 15 years on the Commission on Aging here in Richmond, 15 years as a Parks and Recreation Commissioner, and the only person that has ever served from Richmond on the National Parks and Recreation Commission, Ms. Merle Braxton. To our right is someone whose service and longevity is unheralded. Councilmember Nat Bates, who's also served as the mayor of Richmond, has served 8 elected terms here in the city of Richmond. That might be a record anywhere for an elected official. He's a great leader. He has a great perspective. He too is a celebrated athlete and has been celebrated in his service here in Richmond. I had the honor to serve with him, and so get ready to hear from Councilmember Nat Bates. Continuing to the right, we have an incredible, almost 30-year educator. She's still telling me what to do. She has been a kindergarten teacher and a transitional kindergarten teacher. She served on the West Contra Costa Unified School District Board. She is among the board members who is responsible for this new facility that we are in, this new educational learning space that we are in. And she is the first woman to serve as president of that board, Black woman to serve as president of that board in recent times. And so I hope that you are ready to hear the incredible stories from a great educator and friend, Ms. Audrey Miles. And to our right is someone who has served this city, has served his country. He's going to tell you about how he jumped out of airplanes as an Army paratrooper, but along the way, he currently serves on the Contra Costa Community College Board, but he also served 18 years on the Richmond City Council. And as we think about the migrations of immigrants and those who come to this community, John Marquez is someone who has helped many of them. He's been an instructor at Contra Costa College. He's been a mentor to many who have served, including myself. I call him Poppy. I hope that you all put your hands together for the John Marquez. Thank you. And so that's it for me, but please put your hands together for one of your own, an alum of the Anza, a Don, who's going to carry us through the conversation today. Let's have some love right now for Raven, who's going to carry us on in this conversation. And so I'm going to turn it to Raven Davis, and who's also a great educator. And I want to remind everybody who's thinking about education, we have something for you in California. If you want to get a teaching credential, we can give you a $20,000 scholarship. If you are thinking about college and you want to become a teacher, we can help you to get an undergraduate scholarship of $10,000 to help you on your way. And if you want to be a counselor in one of our schools, we will offer you the same. $10,000 undergraduate scholarship, $20,000 scholarship to get a credential. And so without further ado, we're turning it to Raven and Liz, but there's one more housekeeping thing that I missed. We have 2 other folks from the West Contra Costa family who are working at the California Department of Education. They're in the room right now. We have Deputy Superintendent Cheryl Cotton, who was the principal of the school right across the way from here. and an administrator here, and she's a proud mom of a West Contra Costa alum as well, Cheryl Cotton. One more time for Cheryl Cotton, Deputy Superintendent of the Department of Education. And then this young person needs no introduction. He's a Richmond Oiler alum. He, as a 15-year-old, was coming to the city council and telling us how to make things better for Richmond and San Pablo. He helped to create the youth commission that still exists in this district to this day, and now he serves on the San Pablo City Council. Please give it up for Mr. Abel Pineda. That's it, I'm done. I'm turning it to Reagan and Liz, who will carry us further. Thank you very much.
Electronics, you always saw that little tag of that, made in China. Well, that was Richard Nixon's forte. Because he got impeached, which was embarrassing. But then I had a relationship with President Ford after Nixon got impeached. And then Jimmy Carter. Most people don't realize that Jimmy Carter was quite responsible for the construction of the Hilltop not the Hilltop, but the Knox Freeway. The Carter administration provided 95% of the funds to build that freeway, and the state only provided 5%. And I was disappointed that they didn't name that freeway Jimmy Carter and Knox Freeway. And then, of course, I had a relationship with Reagan. Reagan was my governor when I was the mayor. So obviously we had a good exchange. And then I had with Bush, the elderly Bush. When he was vice president, he and I sat on a committee, just like I'm sitting beside Mrs. Braxton. And he was very funny. And he was very concerned about inner city and the urban areas, making sure that they got their share of the funds to be able to operate. And then Clinton, Bill Clinton was another one. And then Bush the second, and then Obama, and then Trump, and Biden. I got to tell you a little cute story about my relationship with Obama. Now you ask me, who's my favorite president? Now you don't have to ask me that, you know who I'm gonna say. But I got an invitation from the president, big, beautiful seal, invited me and my guests to the White House holiday celebration. The first thing I did, after reading it, I threw it in a garbage can. And then I said, you know, after a few days, I said, you gotta be a damn fool to throw an invitation of that magnitude from probably the strongest, most popular person in the world in the garbage can. And luckily I didn't throw it in a receptacle that the garbage people had come and picked up. So I retrieved it. And sure enough, I put in the necessary information and I was invited, and I took my daughter back to the White House. And I'll tell you, it was a joy of a lifetime. And as a result, I got pictures with him, we talked, and let me just say this about most of the presidents that I've come into contact with. All of them are down to earth except one. All of them are down to earth. They communicate with you. They don't wear their position on their sleeve. They're not egotistical like one of them. So as a result, I just want to let you know that all of these presidents are just human beings like you and I. So we had the great time, and I really appreciated Mr. Obama and Michelle. And I got a good friend of mine, Don Gosney, that had been nice enough. Where you at, Don? Don's been nice enough to put together a little thank you to the students. And I think someone has them back there. So each one of you students will be given one of these photographs in appreciation of our attendance here. And on the back, you can read a little bit more about my relationship with the president and induction in the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. And finally, let me just say this to all of you students. 80 years ago, I'm 92. 80 years ago, I sat in the same chairs that you're sitting in right now. Little did I realize the potential of my experience. The same will occur to you. Some of you are going to be mayors, council members, educators, doctors, but it's very important that you get a good education. A good education will open the doors for you beyond your wildest expectations. And I could not have done this without a good education. And lastly, I just want to say that I want to again thank all of you for being here. But the two sources of my inspiration was my mother as a single parent. And some of you are in a relationship as a single parent, with your parents. And the other one was my baseball coach, an Irishman by the name of Gene Core. And what I'm saying is that people in your life, you've got to utilize and be respectful and work with everybody. It's not a racial thing. There are a lot of people that are willing to help you and assist you. So open your hearts, open your doors, and you too can, some of you may very well be a U.S. Senator, a governor, a professor, a teacher, or maybe even the President of the United States of America.
Thank you, Mr. Bates, for that. So now I want to move on to Mrs. Braxton. Hi, how are you? Fine.
Did earn grades of B or better. And I went on to be a starter in 1979. Played in the Garden State Bowl against Temple University as a starter. At that time, I was one of the first true freshmen that started in the United States on a college football team, along with my other teammate, Freddie Williams. Went on to move forward. Didn't have great seasons after that. But my last season, many of you have heard it, is the big game, Stanford versus Cal. The play where they had laterals on the field and Stanford band ran on the field. Well, I was defensive captain of that team. And with 4 seconds left to go, we were able to win the game. I mentioned that because academics was the foundation. Football has not carried me to where I am today. It's what I learned in libraries like this, in the Richmond Library, in the Berkeley University of California Library, and even so much so based upon my education at St. Mary's. My first year and my second year, I always went back to St. Mary's because I was familiar with the library there and read the books and used the books there to be all I can be. If one thing I encourage you to do is be all you can be, do all you can do, and build relationships. Because those relationships today, if they're true relationships, will carry you on to the next level. It was mentioned here about going on and becoming the next presidents, and city council folks, etc. That's all well and fine. But there is no shame and always gain in being a business owner of your own business. Working in the trades, building carpenters, because we need houses today. Being an electrician, being a painter. Those things are just as valuable today as we have people who are homeless who need housing. That is valuable today that people are being shorted out by PG&E around electricity. We need you today to think about that today. And know this, that there's always time to do the right thing in life. Your time may start now, it may start later, but remember this as well. No matter how dark the night, there is a morning. Wake up, embrace it, step up and step in. Let them recognize who you are and understand you're a beautiful child of God.
Okay.